What up, all my fight fans? So, we got some crazy fight announcements, right? I'm here to talk about it with you guys. I know you already know, but I want to break them down and I want to just chit chat with you guys about all of it. It's going to be an exciting time in the UFC. Really, really is. Let's get to it, shall we? First, before we even get into the title fights, let's talk about the guy who's not going to be fighting for a title as we know so far, and I'm talking about the guy that vacated the title. I'm talking about Ilia Topuria. You know, the guy was the featherweight champion of the world, and he decided to let the belt go and go to the lightweights. You know, I mean, he stated that he felt like he did what he needed to do in the featherweights, and I don't know, maybe he just got tired of making that weight at 145. He does look somewhat of a bigger guy when he's off camp. I think he weighed like 185 or something like that. So, you know, maybe even 190. Either way, that's a big weight cut. You know, 40 something pounds. I'm sure that does some really damage and taxing to the body. So I could get why he doesn't want to, do it too much longer. And as far as what he's accomplished in the featherweight division, yeah, honestly, I feel like he has, because Nate, you can't really think about, like, if he were to beat guys like in the division, such as like Aljamain Sterling or Imavov, or I'm sorry, I think that might be his name, I could be wrong, Diego Lopez, and maybe Volkanovski again, it's just, it really won't be that thrilling, because he beat two featherweight goats, Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, and just did not beat him, but knocked him out. And did something that not a lot of people can do. Like, no one's ever knocked out Volkanovski in the featherweight division. No one's ever even attempted or even came close to knocking out Max Holloway. So it's a big statement for him. So I can understand why, like, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm good. I want to go up to the lightweight division. And he's been, talking a lot about wanting to face Islam Makhachev. So this is a good opportunity for him. Are we going to match him up right away with a contendership, or are we going to match him up with the championship? I think they're going to do contendership, honestly. They want to feel him out a little bit, because I don't think Islam's too keen on fighting somebody that hasn't done much in the division. And we all know it really isn't up to the guys. We all know that's really more up to the UFC, and it's up to them what they feel like is going to be best for the company, not really best for the fighter. So with that being said, I do feel like either Charles Oliveira or Arman Tsarukyan is going to get the next title shot, because they are well deserving within the ranks. And I feel like Ilia Topuria is going to get a contender, whether it will be Charles Oliveira or Arman Tsarukyan, because it's really down between Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan for sure. Really is. So with that being said, I wouldn't mind either or, and I'll be very excited to see what he can bring to the division. Well, because there's a lot of new faces in the division. You got Brian T. City, Brian Ortega's making his way up there. You got Max Holloway. Max Holloway's waiting for an opponent up there. So there's some really exciting stuff happening within the lightweights. Can't wait for that to happen. Now, talking about the featherweights, you got the vacated championship on the line. I believe it's in April. You got Alexander Volkanovski taking on the rising up-and-comer Diego Lopez. This is going to be a very fun fight. Diego Lopez is very dangerous. He's very strong, very powerful. He has a great ground game, and we've seen what he's able to do with his striking. But in my personal opinion, of course, we'll break down the fight as we get closer to it. But my personal opinion, Volkanovski may just take this one, even though his age is up there, even though he has lost a couple of his fights. So we don't know. Maybe he's lost a step or two. But if we still see that Volkanovski that is able to do what he's able to do in the featherweights, what he's done outside of Ilia Topuria, of course, I think it might be a little too much, because Diego Lopez, we've seen him against guys like Brian Ortega, but we haven't seen him really up against the upper echelon guys. We haven't seen him against all the fighters that we've seen Alexander Volkanovski go against. And I would have loved to seen that. And again, it's no fault on Diego Lopez whatsoever. But, at the end of the day, he's the clear contender for the championship, and Alexander Volkanovski has been wanting his belt back. So it's going to be a very fun fight, guys. Also, I believe it's in May, you have Belal Muhammad taking on Jack Della Malineta. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name, Della Malineta. I think it's JDM, something like that. something to that nature. But either way, it's going to be a very fun fight as well. You know, Belal Muhammad won his belt against Leon Edwards back in July of last year, and he had some kind of infection on his foot where he could not fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov this past December. And then Shavkat Rakhmonov got a #1 contendership fight with Ian Nigari, but that fight, you know, wasn't the greatest, kind of lackluster a little bit. But at the end of the day, Shavkat won, and excuse me, and he got a #1 contendership. But I believe he's injured right now, Shavkat, and he's not able to really fight. He's not really able to really get through camp or something like that, so he's not going to be ready. So they gave the fight to Jack, and he's going to be ready. You know, he's a rising up and comer as well. He was injured for quite a while himself. I think his last fight may have been against Gilbert Burns, you know, so he's a little bit of a big rising star too. But again, I gotta say the experience and whatnot has to go to Belal Muhammad for sure. It has to go to Belal, because just to the simple fact that he's been around the game for so long, and he's been around a lot of experienced fighters, where Jack, again, he's another young rising star, very hungry, very determined. But at the end of the day, it really all boils down to experience, and I just feel like he doesn't have that quite experience at the highest level yet, and hasn't won against some of the higher level opponents like Belal Muhammad has. But either way, it's going to be a fun fight. I am looking forward to it. You never know, these young guys like Diego Lopez and Jack might surprise us for sure. So there you have it, guys. Also, excuse me, they're not a non-title fight. You got Michael Chandler taking on Paddy the Baddy. You know, Paddy the Baddy, this is a big statement for him. A real big statement, because he's going against a very, very top of the spear veteran. You know, even though Michael Chandler isn't the best of the best right now in the division, he is still by far the most experienced fighter he has ever faced. I'm talking about Paddy. He's by far the most experienced fighter. You know, because Paddy has fought quite a few good guys. You know, he's fought Bobby Green. He's fought a few other up-and-comers. Tony Ferguson, a little bit past his prime, obviously. Bobby Green past his prime, obviously. So this is going to be a really good test for Paddy, because we always thought that he was going to be a rising star. We always thought that he was going to make a big name for himself. And it's been a little bit more on the slow end, and he's wanted that. He wanted things to be slower, and he has not fought quite as often as I thought he would have. But at the end of the day, this is a good test. As far as Michael Chandler goes, I believe this is his last chance. If he loses to Paddy, that is it. Call it a day. You're going to get an exciting fight, one or two every now and then, but as far as championship goes, as far as anything else like that goes, it's done. It's done. It ain't happening anymore. You ain't getting nothing else anymore. You're going to be pretty much fighting for just exciting fights, because he's already lost quite a few. He's lost to all the up-and-coming contenders, or not contenders, but all the upper-level opponents like Justin Gaethje, like Dustin Poirier, like Charles Oliveira twice. So, you know, I can only imagine what will be next for him if he were to lose this fight. So it's going to be a very exciting fight. There's a lot riding on it, so I'm very much looking forward to it for sure. There you have it, guys. That's some fight announcements for you. I can't wait to see these fights. I'm sure there's going to be more fights coming this way, so let's talk about them when they do. So like, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.